All right, welcome in. It is Tuesday morning. Time for Total Bases. I'm here with Bryan, Leonard, and Tokyo Brandon. This is your hopefully soon daily free pick Major League Baseball show. If you want us 5 days a week, hop in the comments. Let WagerTalk know. I don't care. Email customer support. Bug someone. I've got nothing to do on Monday and Thursday mornings. I'd love to come with these two guys and talk 5 games per week. Right now, 3 games a week, or 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Show controlled by you guys in the chat. But I'm going to throw a new wrinkle in here, and I'm going to pick the first game because we should be highlighting nationally televised MLB. We don't get it that often anymore, so I'm going to make the feature game of the show, the national TV game. Bryan, Leonard, I have to look this up because it's like hard to do they even run commercials on like a nationally televised baseball game? I had to look it up to find out that Red Sox Tigers is the national TV game tonight on TBS. I don't know why it doesn't get highlighted more in this country. I'm sure TV's got national TV MLB on a daily basis. But Red Sox Tigers, TBS tonight, nationally televised game. All I have to say, good thing it wasn't last night because everyone would have been tuned out by like the third inning. The Red Sox got absolutely destroyed. A new day today. We'll start with Bryan, Leonard. Red Sox Tigers, what are you looking at?
Well, I've got to apologize to Brian Bello slightly. I've been against him most of the time this year. If I played, I thought I think a lot of it comes down to that contract he signed. I thought it was for him to go first out of all the pitchers that Boston has. I think that was a bad signing by them. His numbers have been pretty good. His base numbers not nearly as good, but still, he's performed pretty well for them. They're going up against Detroit here. Looks like Detroit's going to go with the bullpen game. They got Holton starting. And by the way, there's a lot of lefties on today's card, 11 lefties going on the card here on Tuesday. So you got to look at it a little bit differently. Some teams hit lefties better than others. But Detroit's playing very well. And to make them here, I don't care if it's a bullpen game or not, to make them a slight underdog, that would be the side that I would look at. I mean, Detroit doesn't have obvious late game closers, but their entire bullpen is very good. So a slight lean here with Detroit. It's very early. It's 6 a.m. out here in Vegas. All these games today are on the evening card, by the way, and I love that. So we get a lot more time to dig into these as the day goes on. But that's the first thing that popped out about this game is I think Detroit's a little bit undervalued here based on the reliever starting the game.
TB, I think you're muted, buddy. Well, while TB figures out his mic, I want to jump in because the first thing I noticed when I looked at this was the Tigers are going to go with a bullpen game. And if you guys remember back to last year, that was almost that was as effective as it got outside of Tariq Skubal. By September, they were basically 2 of their 5 rotation spots were bullpen games. And by the playoffs, it was pretty much like a bullpen game every game outside of Skubal, but it was very effective. And so when I saw Holton on the mound, I said, all right, like Hinch couldn't contain himself. He waited until now, and now he's going to sort of implement this bullpen spot in the rotation, at least for now. I'm with you, Bryan. I looked and I said, man, this is like people are going to look at this and think, okay, well, the Tigers are going with a bullpen game here, but they were as effective doing this as really any team has been in the last couple of years. Like they pretty much got to they won a playoff series and got to the playoffs doing this last year, essentially. So yeah, I kind of looked and said, the Tigers, they're playing great ball right now. Something that also doesn't really show up I feel like in their overall numbers is like the overall just scrappiness of this team, right? Like I've sort of been anti-Tigers on this show more often than not, talking about their lineup. But you know what? They do a lot of situational hitting. I think I texted you a few days ago. I said, hey, Bryan, did you know the Tigers lead the league in going first to third on a base hit? And you're like, yeah, I knew that number was tracked. That was news to me. I didn't realize that was an easily tracked statistic, but stuff like that, going first to third on a base hit, those are things that winning teams do. And so you see a team like this, even money, maybe even a little plus money, I'm certainly leaning the Tigers. Do we have you back, TB? What do you think, Tigers Red Sox? I think you're back. I heard you for a second. Can you talk again?
Then the admin has me muted.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yep.
He doesn't speak up a little bit.
We're good.
Really? Okay.
Yep,
maybe
we got you.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I don't have much on Holton. Yeah, he's a reliever, so I really don't have much on that. Bullpen, Boston has a slight advantage, but lineup, man, the Tigers have been putting up runs like crazy. Regarding Bayo, I don't think he's anything special. He's actually rather mediocre. So I think this game will probably go over, if anything. Detroit's bullpen, I have them ranked pretty mediocre. Boston's is above average, but Bayo, his balls to strikeout ratio is really bad. I think we're going to see some runs here. If anything, I'd go over on this one.
I do want to point out that if you're looking at the bullpens, both look to be in really good shape today on who is going to be available. So that's something you have to take a look in. So if you do like the over, maybe first 5 in that regard, because all the bullpen arms should be ready to go tonight. Both teams.
And again, I got to disagree with the Tigers having a mediocre bullpen. I think their bullpen's outstanding. Like, I think I think the only reason that they have a quote unquote mediocre bullpen, they've actually blown a lot of teams out this year. They've had scenarios where they've been up big and they've kind of given up like garbage runs. If you're looking like high leverage situations, there's not many teams I'd rather have bullpen wise than the Tigers right now. And I know you kind of dropped off for a second, TV, but what I was talking about was last year, they were so effective in this bullpen game type scenario. I do agree with you though. Bayo's got some underlying metrics that concern me with him. Wouldn't be that surprised if he gave up runs. I'm giving a pretty strong look to the Tigers at some, like, I think it's still like plus 102, plus 103. I think that's a good bet, regardless if I get to the window or not. With that, I think I would not talk you off a Tigers bet. Before we move on,
just a quick note about my rankings. It's not, I don't mean that their bullpen is mediocre, but my rankings really reflect a lot of current form. But you're right. I mean, when you're winning a lot of games, your bullpen's going to look bad because you're not leveraging your best arms. So agree.
Yeah, I mean, in their current form, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6-2 in their last 8 games. They've won some of these games by 10 runs.
Just fortune.
So
yep.
So yeah, they really are, and I
agree
I might be eating my words too when we kind of like Joe. I talked about the Tigers being like not a real threat. They are playing fantastic ball all around. The total basis parlay, first ever show parlay on Friday, cashed in as dramatic of fashion as you could absolutely imagine. Rangers plus 1.5 got there for me. TB got it done with the Reds team total under. And then Bryan Leonard gets a grand slam in the bottom of the 5th inning to make it 8-8. We push his leg and we cash plus 260. So throughout the course of this show, each of us will add a leg. By the end of the show, we will have another total basis show parlay for you guys. But we're going to head.
Profit is profit, baby.
That's right. That's right. Jack Falk says they advertise it for a good amount during NHL, NBA playoffs. I got to be honest. I watched the NBA playoffs for the first time last night. I watched Knicks Celtics for a while. So that's maybe on me. I'm just in baseball mode right now completely. And we got to get in the chat. We got a huge slate today. We did a feature game, Red Sox Tigers. Let's go to G Hurt. Not sure what to make of Kansas City right now, but I want to play on them. Yeah, I'm with you. I got burned by Kansas City. I played against them on Friday night, lost in extra innings with the Red Sox. Of course, they come out the next 2 days and lose. Kind of, of course, I didn't have the Red Sox, or I didn't have the Red Sox in either of those games. I'm kind of with you here, G Her. I'm not really sure how to play this team right now either. So I'm going to pass this right over to Tokyo Brandon. Start us off, Kansas City, Houston.
Yeah, Bubic, I don't know how he pronounces his name, but man, he's having a season, isn't he? And Royals bullpen in current form smoking. I have him ranked number 4 in all of MLB. Hitting rather mediocre at the moment. Astros do have an advantage in the hitting at the moment, but their bullpen and their starter, I have Framber Valdez ranked 15 out of 30, which includes current form. Doesn't mean that's where he is always. Everything is fluid. But yeah, I mean, Kansas City has to have an advantage here with the better starter and the better bullpen. A little too tight for me to play because the Astros are smoking the ball right now. So I'll probably stay away, but man, hard not to bet Kansas City here.
I can fully understand that. Bubic comes in with a 1.69 ERA, 1.10 whip, but his expected ERA is 3.36. Now, he's done nothing but everything right so far this season, other than his fastball velocity is only in the 18th percentile, but he has been terrific for Kansas City. He was terrific for Kansas City last year, 2.67 ERA. Didn't get any starts, but he was very good in the bullpen. They gave him the job coming out of spring training, and he's looked great. And he's somebody I've been looking to back, no doubt about it. But I'm not so sure if you take a look at the career highlights, if Framber Valdez, he's been very good in his career. He's got in 8 seasons, 3.33 ERA, 1.19 whip. And what makes him is the ground ball percentage. He's in the 87th percentile in ground ball rate. And that keeps a lot of these guys in the games because they can get that double play at any time. And that's what he has done. This year, his numbers are not comparable at all to his mound opponent. His ERA comes in at 3.94, expected ERA 4.43. So both guys, their expected ERA is a little bit higher than what they've done so far this season. Neither team has really played a lot of lefties. I believe one team has played 4 lefties, one has played 5. So it's somebody they don't see very often, and that's a lefty. The total 7.5 here. I think both guys should have a pretty good pitching situation here at 7.5, but I can't find an edge on the game. If I do, I think Bubic is the way to go. You're getting a plus 120 to 125. That seems to be pretty good in this one. That would be my best bet in this game, but don't know if it'll make my card because Valdez is such a good pitcher and he's just starting to come into his own again this year. Pitched a little bit better last time out.
Yeah, I my numbers like the Royals. I do think there's a little value there. I just personally, last night I'm watching some Yankees Mariners right before I went to bed, and I'm just kind of going through the AL West. I got a buddy of mine that's very high on the Mariners, who I very much respect his opinion, and I'm kind of looking through the division, and I'm just like, who leads that division in run differential right now? It's the Astros, plus 19, despite being in 4th place, and I'm just like, are they just gonna win again? Because that's all this organization does is just win. And I don't know. I find myself a little bit reluctant to play against the Astros, especially when they're only 20-20, 500 team. I'm just like, do I want to step in front of the inevitable stretch where they just win 7 of 9 or something? And that's kind of why I can't bring myself to play against the Astros just yet, especially in this spot,
and they did that last year too. They had a horrible start last year.
They absolutely did.
They're not going to make the playoffs, and then they just smoked. They're doing it again.
Yep. Well, that's the thing, TB. They really haven't done it yet. That's what I'm saying. They're 20-20. Yeah. They really haven't done it yet. But here we are, May 15th, and it's it's just, they do have some veterans. Sometimes it takes some of these veteran guys 5-6 weeks to really lock in. And yeah, I'm kind of hesitant to fade the Astros at this moment. All right, Mike McIntosh. I got an opinion here. Reds game over 9.5 or under. For as far as the total is concerned, I kind of think we see runs in this one. And I am strongly considering the underdog plus 1.5. So someone in the chat pointed out that we have a lot of favorites on today's card. And my numbers very much like a lot of these underdogs, which is somewhat terrifying knowing who some of these underdogs are that my numbers like. One of them is the Chicago White Sox. I'll start by, kind of pointing out Jonathan Cannon. I felt like he got off to a slow start. Just didn't have a great April. I think we even talked about him on this show. And I said, listen, the guy's from Georgia, right? He went to Georgia. He's from Georgia. throughout April, he was either pitching in like home games in Chicago, miserable weather. I think he was in Minnesota at one point. I expected him to get a little bit better. And now you look at his last 4 starts. He's gone 6 innings in all 4. The last 3 have all been quality outings. Pitched into the 8th inning against a good A's lineup. Got his first win of the season there. The next time out, I believe he beat the Astros, team we were just talking about. And he was pretty good last time out against the Royals. Scattered some hits. He did give up some hits. The concern there, didn't strike anyone out, but still 2 runs over 6 innings. I think the White Sox might help him out here with some runs. I'm not super high on Abbott. So to answer your question, Mike, for me, I think this game probably goes over, and I'll be looking at the +1.5 underdog. White Sox are just a little bit, they're playing better ball right now collectively, I think. And I think you can justify them +1.5. I'll go to Bryan Leonard. What are your thoughts? White Sox, Reds.
I'm not as big a fan of Jonathan Cannon as you seem to be. Take a look at his StatCast page. Really, all of his pitching, they're all league average or worse. Average exit velocity, 55 percentile is the best thing he does. Doesn't strike anybody out, doesn't whiff anybody. And that is a concern when you're playing in a good hitter's ballpark where the opposition doesn't strike out. The more balls in play, more hits, which helps the over in this one. So it's a situation for me. I'm not really looking to play on Cincinnati. Abbott's a guy who you take a look at his numbers, and it always seems to be much better than what I think he is. In 3 seasons, he got a 3.65 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. That's actually pretty good when you're pitching half your games in Cincinnati. His expected batting average is in the 98th percentile, hard hit percentage in the 99th percentile, but he's a fly ball pitcher. Ground ball percentage in the 2nd percentile. So you're going to get a lot of fly balls when Abbott pitches, and that's usually not a good thing when you're playing in Cincinnati. His numbers have been good, but I think it's a situation where playing in this ballpark with the 2 teams playing, the over would be the way that I would take a look at this one. I always seem to be betting against Abbott and not having success, but he's 20-16 in his career so far, which is not bad considering he's pitching in Cincinnati, and that ERA at 3.65 is kind of impressive.
I like Cannon, actually. I think he's above average. I don't think he's terrible, but I don't think he's elite. I think he's in the upper echelon of the middle 1/3 of starting pitchers in MLB. So he's reliable. But Abbott, his numbers are great. But like you said, Brian, he doesn't really pass the eye test. His numbers, when you watch him, you're like, how is this guy pitching like this? So, but nevertheless, his numbers have him ranked 7 on a curve of 30 starting pitchers, and my numbers. Cincinnati has an above average bullpen. I would like the White Sox here because they got a decent starter, but the Reds are not run producing, but the White Sox are not run producing either. So if anything, I would like an under here, but how would you go in the under? Well, I kind of like the Reds bullpen a little too much or I don't like the White Sox bullpen. So that would shy me away from the under, but I would think about the White Sox team total under 3.5. You can get that for plus money right now. That would be the only way I would go on this, but I haven't pulled the trigger.
It's, I want to just clarify, like Cannon, I don't like him as much as I think, like relative to where he's priced. And I do agree with some of the stuff Bryan is saying, but he's just like kind of a fighter. Like I've watched a lot of his starts at the big league level since last year. He does a decent job of pitching out of trouble. So when I look at this game, and if now I'm going to go back to the side, I look at White Sox Reds, obviously, like, yes, you might give up a few runs with Cannon, but you're getting plus 1.5 essentially at what, like even money, like you're getting the run to work with. The Reds are just a team I can't lay. I don't think that they, as a team right now, justify being a $2 favorite in many situations. And it goes more past the pitching and like some of the numbers. They make a lot of mistakes. This team makes too many mistakes. We talked about it last week, and it popped up to bite them a few times last week. When they can eliminate some of these just mistakes that should be correctable, then maybe I'll give them a little bit more respect as a big favorite. Until then, You can't be laying $2 with the Reds. So it's got to be White Sox or pass, in my opinion. All right, Smokey, I think he's got 2 games. Let's go to Smokey in the chat. We'll take your we'll do them both for you. We're going to hit them both for Smokey. Let's start Padres Angels. This is going to be Soriano against Dylan Cease, I believe. I completely lost my spot here. So I'm just going to go throw it right to Bryan Leonard. Start us off, Padres Angels, Soriano versus Cease.
Soriano's a guy that's not going to let a ton of strikeouts, but he is a good pitcher. I like him. And I'd usually look to bet on him. Problem is here, he's going against Dylan Cease, who did leave his last game early, I believe. Well, not early, but he did leave his last game. He was pitching very well. I had him. I believe they were a home underdog. But Cease is he's starting to come into his own a little bit after struggling to start the season. Soriano's another guy that I like, but the total is 7.5, and I'm not going to go under 7.5 in this game. Taking a look at what the pitchers have done here. Okay, here we go. Soriano got a lot of blue on his card. He has not pitched as well as he has in the past. 4-run ERA, 1.53 WHIP is really what's hurt him. His expected ERA, 4.22. He is a ground ball guy, 97th percentile in ground ball rate. San Diego's not much of a home run hitting park. So this should be a little negated a little bit, but his hard hit rate is in the 9th percentile. So he does get hit hard, but he keeps most things on the ground here. But I do like him. And if you take a look at his opposition in this game, and Cease is starting to see a lot more red in his profile. His strikeout percent, 27.0 against a walk, 9.6. That puts us above that 16% that I always like to go for. He's at 17.4. He is not a good guy to keep the ball on the ground. 21st percentile in the ground ball rate. Barrel rate, 21st is very good. Fastball velocity, 86%. But he's had problems putting people on this year. 1.41 whip, normally 1.26. But I think he's pitching better as of late. So normally I'd like to play these under, but I can't do it with the 7.5. And I think the line's pretty much there. So not enough for me to get involved.
Tokyo Brandon, I want to jump in and I'll throw this question to you. I think Smokey might be asking if these two teams are potentially worth parlaying together. I'm kind of seeing the Padres line and the Mets line. I think he means Padres Mets maybe paired together. So I'll let you kind of touch on both games, and why don't you let Smokey know if that's a worthwhile look or not?
Sure. Well, probability tells us that it's much easier to win one event than it is to win 2 events. So I always tend to try to bet one game rather than put 2 together. But here's a little betting trick that I like to use. I like to use the -1. I've talked about this on shows before. I got the Padres -1 at -140. I think it's a great value. The line might have dropped since I put that out 6 hours ago or so. But I think that's great value. Cease, like Bryan said, Cease is coming on. He's doing much better than he did at the beginning of the season. The problem is what's going on with the Padres bullpen. They used to have the best bullpen in Major League Baseball in the last week. They've just tanked. I don't know what's going on, but I think after yesterday's loss, they're going to be hungry to win this. Cease is a better pitcher than Soriano. I was ready to back Soriano at the beginning of the season, but he's let me down so much. I'm not backing him anymore. Cease is the better pitcher. The Padres have the better talent in the bullpen, although they're not performing better. And the Padres have the number 2 lineup in Major League Baseball, and the Angels have the 21st. So I think this is a no-brainer. I don't even know why anyone would debate betting the Angels here. So Padres -1 is the way I would go. Regarding the Mets, we can break that game down later, but I would not parlay them together. I think a total in the Mets game would be better bet.
All right. Well, I'll wrap up the Padres real quick by saying, you pointed out yesterday's loss. How about Sunday's loss to the Rockies? Get blown out. Now, granted, they had done all the damage in the first couple games of that series. I would be a little bit. I don't know that I'd be dying to go against the Padres on their home field where they play great ball, as we know, coming off of those 2 losses. lost to the Rockies, lost to the Angels. As far as the bullpen is concerned, I think this is just what you see when good teams that win a lot of games, at some point they're going to have a couple of days where the bullpen's just not great. It happens. Like you start accumulating inning after inning like that. I know I got a little lucky with Nats plus 1.5 yesterday, but part of my handicap was the Braves had played 6 one-run games going into yesterday's game. And what happened? Not only did the 8th inning, really the Nats should have had it in the 8th. CJ Abrams should be put in timeout for that at bat, swinging at 2 balls and grounding into a double play. So the Nats finally broke through in the 9th, but the Braves had accumulated so many high leverage innings. There's going to be a crack at some point in time. That's kind of what I think has happened to the Padres. I think their bullpen is still very elite. They're an elite team. I would not want to bet against them coming off back-to-back losses. Bryan Leonard, let's talk about his other game, Mets-Pirates.
Yes.
This is another big favorite today, and we've got a few of them on the card. But this is one I've found some underdogs I do like today. The Pirates is just not one of them. So what are your thoughts, Mets-Pirates?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Keller's, and his expected ERA is about a full run higher than his regular ERA, which has not been impressive at all. The Pirates fired the coach just a few games ago, and they played better ball since. I give them credit. It's a short-term situation, but they don't have the talent some of these other teams do. So to get that long winning streak that normally happens when you fire a coach, it's going to be tougher for them. Also, Colorado too. It's the firing of the coach in Colorado was a joke to me. Bud Black, they're not going to be able to get somebody better than Bud Black to come to Colorado to coach that team of double and triple A players. But Cody Senga has gotten off to a terrific start, 1.16 ERA, but his expected ERA is 3.31. From his StatCast page, most of his things are about league average. He's having a little problem with his walks. His whip's 116, which isn't bad, but he's in the 22nd percentile of walks. But he's been very good coming back to preseason. He's a guy I like to bet on. I think he's done everything possible in the major leagues. He just, other than stay healthy, he's a very good player. I like the Mets, but I can't lay this line here. Prefer the Mets, but won't be on it myself.
Yeah, Senga has been a power pitcher ever since he was with SoftBank here in Japan. And I've said this in shows before, but Japanese pitchers really take off in their second year. Once they get used to the different ball and the different, exercise routine. And I know it's not Senga's second year, but as a scout, I look at this as his second year because he's been injured off and on. And if you accumulate all the data, this is technically his second year, in my opinion. You can disagree with me, but that's what I think. So he's taking off, as we see. His walks are a little alarming, but he's still getting out of the trouble. And like Bryan pointed out, his expected ERA is a little bit higher than what he actually is. But nevertheless, he's still a top 1/3 starter in the league. Look, Pittsburgh can't produce runs right now. I mean, I have them ranked 29 out of 30 teams in hitting, including current form. So they're almost dead last. I really don't trust the Mets bullpen at the moment, but I do trust Senga. So if I'm going to bet this game, it would be the Pirates first 5 under 1.5.
All right, I'm going to Jack Falk real quick.
And that's going to be my parlay leg.
Oh,
Pirates.
All right. Oh, wait a second. All right, go ahead. So you got your parlay leg is what? That's all right. We need to make
Pirates first 5 under 1.5, and it's minus 128.
Pirates first 5 under 1.5. What juice did you say you see for that?
128.
Minus 128. All right. So you had a nice first 5 under in our parlay on Friday with the Reds. He's going Pirates first 5 under 1.5, minus 128. And you know what? I'm gonna throw the second leg of the parlay out right now. Jack Falk said we've got to talk about Baez. Dude is raking. We already talked this game. I'm gonna make Tigers money line my parlay leg right now, even money. We already broke this game down, so feel free to go back to the beginning of the show. But I want to just specifically, Jack Falk. Yeah, Baez is having an awesome season, and I read something that he went to management in the offseason. he kind of saw maybe that he was replaceable a little bit. Like they saw Trey Sweeney coming up. Maybe he didn't have an infield position. He went to management and he was like, I'll do whatever it takes to be in this lineup every day. I think he has a great attitude this year. He's gone out and played center field for them. He's done it extremely well. He's playing awesome. And you know what? Like, I think I said a couple weeks ago, well, the Baez regression is coming at some point. But, hey, like, he's had seasons like this before. It just hasn't been recently. But the vibes around that Tigers team are so good. And then you have a guy like Baez willing to, like, be a team guy. He's a veteran. He didn't really have to act like that, right? Like, some guys that have been around as long as him don't necessarily just say, hey, I'll do what it takes for the team. So love to hear that. Hinch is an elite manager. And the Tigers just, man, even for what they lack maybe on paper, they make up in like every other facet of the game. So I'm going to make leg 2 of our parlay Tigers money line. So we've got a half hour to get one for Bryan Leonard, which we will at some point. But so far, the 2 legs of the parlay Tigers money line, and then Tokyo Brandon Pirates first 5 under under at 1.5 runs. We will outline it again at the end of the show. And let's go to Jack Falk for another one. Rays, Jays, Berrios at home at a reasonable price always catches my eye. Well, I've got a, the Jays have won 4 straight games. Of course, the last time I bet the Jays was last Wednesday when Berrios battled for me, and I want to bring him up because he didn't have his best stuff, and this dude made impossible pitch after impossible pitch to keep his team in that game and keep triggering that game with a best bet on the Blue Jays, only to come out in the 9th and have my guy, Capital Region, Latham, New York native Jeff Hoffman, blow the save. Guess what? The Jays haven't lost since. I haven't bet them since. So I can't, even if I wanted to, I don't think I could bet them here just out of principle, but I'm going to check in with Bryan Leonard. Can you bet the Jays here, Berrios at home at a reasonable price, catching Jack Falk's eye?
Yeah, I've been on a pretty good run lately, 5-1 the last 2 days. The Jays have been good to me lately. I believe I only lost once on them, and that might have been the game where they blew the lead. But Shane Baz started the season on fire. And his last couple of games, he has not pitched well. You take a look at his StatCast page, do have concerns about his barrel, or he's good in his barrel percentage at 26th percentile, but he's supposed to be a big strikeout pitcher, and his numbers show that he's about 1 strikeout per inning, but he's only in the 64th percentile in strikeout. His strikeout minus walk is at 15.9, which is pretty good. Problem is, right now, if you don't know if he's injured or not, like I mentioned, the last couple of starts just have not been the same for him, and that is always a concern. And when you take a look at Berrios, no, his numbers have not been great, but as you mentioned, he goes out there and he fights for you. Unfortunately, his expected ERA is about a full run higher than his actual ERA. He's having problems keeping runners off base. He got a 1.41 WHIP. Barrel percentage, 12th percentile is great. But when your walk percentile is 27 percentile in strikeout at 56, a little bit of a concern there. With the 2 pitchers pitching that have not really impressed me lately, maybe the over 8 is probably the way to go. But at this point, I don't think I'm going to get involved in this one.
So I think I think the Blue Jays is the only way to go here. I like Berrios. I might be the only guy on the planet that likes Berrios, but
I like him,
he won me,
but keep going.
You do? He won me a lot of bets in the outs props that I was killing last year. He was an Iron Man, not quite going as deep as he was last year, but I still have him ranked like right at 15 out of 30 on the curve. I have Baz ranked 17 out of 30 on the curve. So pretty even there, but I think Toronto's bullpen is really performing well right now. And it's weird because the Rays are supposed to be known as the bullpen team, but their bullpen's pretty mediocre at the moment, and they can't produce runs at all. They're pretty much like the Pirates right now. They're just kind of in a funk right now, where I have the Blue Jays hitting quite well in my rankings. So I think the Blue Jays would be the only way to go. I need a certain score differential between the teams before I pull the trigger. And this one's not quite there, but it's really almost there. I'll probably put the Blue Jays out as a free play somehow, but not a paid play.
So I'm with you. I like Barrios. I think he does things that don't necessarily show up in the numbers. I'll point back to his last start where, the walks are a concern. I think he had 4 or 5 walks in that game. But man, when there was a guy on third and he needed to make a pitch, he made it every time. And that's something that's something you don't see as much with pitchers these days. Like there's only a handful that really like just don't get flustered by those types of situations. I was really impressed with him in those situations. He put himself in trouble just about every inning, pitched his way out. As far as you were set, like Blue Jays bullpen's fantastic right now, especially like the Garcia Hoffman combo at the end. I know I complained about Hoffman kind of blowing one last week for me, but like over the course of the season, there's not many great high leverage duos in Major League Baseball right now. I think it's something that's come up on the show a couple times. I'm looking in the American League, like it doesn't get better on many teams than the Hoffman Garcia duo at the end of that Blue Jays bullpen. So and you want to talk about a team last year. This Blue Jays bullpen was horrendous last year. Absolutely terrible. So the fact that they have that going for them, I think is big. And I'm kind of with Bryan. I'm going to go back to him right now. You never know if Boz is hurt. He's been hurt every year in his big league career so far. He had a good offseason, but this certainly feels like the Boz that you see maybe a start or two before he ends up on the IL. It's happened literally every year of his career so far. So Blue Jays is definitely the lean for me. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, I just want to elaborate a little bit more on your bullpen situation in Toronto. I really like this bullpen. You mentioned Hoffman and Garcia in the back. They still have Chad Green. Chad Green's been good everywhere he's been. Brendan Little is a guy that not a lot of people know about. He's been putting up tremendous numbers. And they brought up this Mason Fluharty. He's their 30th ranked, one of their top 30 prospects. He's looked really good so far. And very, very good. He's a lefty that really comes from the side a little bit. And he's been very impressive. So their bullpen is been very, very strong this season, and they're all available today. They had only Rodriguez pitched a little bit on Sunday. Nobody else played, and then yesterday they had the day off. So you got the full bullpen for Toronto in this game. So maybe that is the better way to go. And I do like the Tampa Bay bullpen. They've got a lot of good live arms there. They're just not having good seasons. So this is one of those bullpens that if you get on a nice little run, it would not surprise me at all.
Why won't you take them then?
In this game?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, Baz, the last 2 games, he's gotten hit hard, and I think he may be injured. So I'm not going to bet on a guy who I think may be injured, especially when the bullpen, as you mentioned, has not looked that great so far. That would be more innings for them. So especially Toronto. Toronto doesn't have bullpen worries here. So
why wouldn't
lean
you
more with Toronto, but won't get there.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious.
I think TB was asking why you wouldn't take the Blue Jays, right? Is that?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant Tampa
no problem.
Bay. No, I lean with the Blue Jays, but it's very early in the morning. I don't want to commit to a whole lot right now, but that's the side I would lean towards.
For me, I'm just too stubborn. That I lost with them. They've won 4 straight. I didn't bet them in any of the 4 that they won. If I bet them today, it's a guaranteed loss. That's just it.
Well, let us all know.
Someone figure that out. No, I can't bring myself to do that. I can't do it. Go ahead, TB.
Let me make a quick comment. Your boy from the Diamondbacks organization finally got called up, so you can stop your wrath on the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. All right. Now that someone brought it up, let's talk about that. That's of course Jordan Lawler, who has been like Ryan Braun in his prime at AAA so far this year. Yes, they finally called him up. Listen, like I'm not a big prop guy. I would bet Jordan Lawler props over tonight, and I'll explain why. So they called him up yesterday, and then we'll talk about D-backs Giants. But they called him up yesterday. He didn't play. That's fine. His normal off day is Monday. Minor League Baseball doesn't play on Monday, so he gets his normal off day, and now he's in the lineup against a veteran left-handed pitcher. And I just know how some of these veterans roll. Like I don't think Robbie Ray is going to give him an ounce of respect. I think he's just going to go after him like this is a guy from the minors. And I think if Jordan Lawler gets a pitch to hit, he's going to punish it. So Jordan Lawler props are probably live tonight. He's been better. I think the other reason that they didn't play him yesterday, Verlander can be tough on right-handed batters, and I think he was a bad matchup for Lawler. Lawler probably in the lineup tonight. I bet he has a good game against Robbie Ray. As far as Diamondbacks Giants go, this is a challenging game. Brandon fought on the mound. He's someone that I do think gets hit at some point. We talked about him last week, and he ended up having a pretty good game in a spot that I thought he might get hit against the Dodgers. So challenging one for me from a side perspective, but I will give my play in D-backs Giants would be Jordan Lawler, basically over in any fashion. I think he has a good game tonight. Let's go to Bryan Leonard, then we'll go to TB.
The only concern about Lawler is he's only going to play probably 4 days a week. You don't know which games he's going to play as of yet. And he's played second, short, and third, so he's going to be bouncing all around. So my concern is we always talk about the going from AAA to the majors being the biggest leap. I know what he has done, but you're not only bringing him into a hitting situation, but now they're going to use him at 3 different positions. So he's got to worry more about his defense being major league ready also. That is my concern with Lawler. I think he's got all the talent in the world. But, Arizona has not hit lefties well. They're 4-7 on the season versus lefties. I do like the situation here for Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray is a guy that when he can keep the opposition off balance and not walk people. That's the only thing I'm concerned about him. His walk rate this year, 12.7.
Right.
But it's 25.4 overall, so he's still 33%. So of the batters not hitting the ball get walked, but his hard hit rate is in the 8th percentile, walk percentile at 13th percent. So he can get hit, but this is not a team that hits lefties as well. They've struggled against lefties. He comes in with a 2.84 ERA, 1.20 whip. His expected ERA a little bit higher at 3.53. Vaught's a guy that's been very good, but there's a lot of blue in his StatCast page. Average exit velocity only in the 9th percentile. Expected batting average in the 6th percentile. Both teams can get hit in this one. So the line, the total at 7.5 could be extended here. Somewhat like the over here. Somewhat like the slight home dog on Robbie Ray. Like the over a little bit better at this point.
Brandon, I want to ask you a question, and then you could talk about this game.
First of all, I have no opinion on this game. I have this so tight. I have no opinion.
All right. Well, I want to know, this is just a general question. Why is Arizona not hitting left-handed pitching? Because they absolutely mauled left-handed pitching last year, and it's all the same guys. Can either of you explain that?
I don't know. I think it's just more, I think it's more one-on-one matchups than it is left-handed pitching overall. I think it's more one-on-one matchups, but I can't explain it.
Right. That makes me weary about that makes me weary about fading Arizona against a lefty. Like, you look at their numbers last year against the lefties, they were easily, like, far and away the best offense against left-handed pitching for most of the season last year. It's almost all the same players. So I'm very, very hesitant to play against Arizona when they're facing a left-handed pitching, because I'm just worried that the regression is coming. They were so good against left-handed pitching last year. Go ahead, Bryan.
I will say the Giants are 6 games over 500 on the season. There's 7 games under 500 versus lefty. It's not going to help us today, but keep that in mind for the future. They're 2-9 against lefty starters so far this season.
Interesting. Robbie Ray goes against his old team. I actually have an Arizona Robbie Ray jersey.
And for the Lawler situation, they're divisional opponents. They know who Lawler is. They'll be planning for him.
All right, had that one quick. Smokey, drop in the chat. I'm not sure. Address those 2 games. I'm wondering if you we're talking about your earlier thing with Mets Pirates, but I have seen you and a couple people ask about the Cubs. So let's go to Cubs Marlins, and I'll start this one off. It is pretty much it's pretty much my handicap every time we talk about the Marlins. This is the situation I prefer them in. I like them as a underdog where you can catch the 1.5, where you can maybe benefit from like them being just a scrappy team that doesn't know better. I think we did this show on Friday, and I said that I would want no part of this team against the White Sox, knowing that they're going to be a favorite basically every part of that series. And they went out and lost 2 of 3. Now, last night was really it was really a competitive game. One bad inning for the Marlins killed them in that game. They gave up a 5 spot in the 5th, lost 5-2. I look at this matchup, Beloso, then Brown. I feel like the pitching is kind of even. This is the type of role. This is where I want to play the Marlins, and I want to take the 1.5. The Marlins show value to me today. I just don't know if I can bet against this Cubs team, which I've been so high on this season. So I lean Marlins plus 1.5 here. Let's go to Bryan Leonard, see what he thinks.
I do have my concerns about Beloso. 3.50 ERA, 1.33 WHIP, expected ERA, 3.81. His hard hit percentage has been terrific. He's in the 97th percentile, average exit velocity in the 85th percentile, but that does not match up with his other numbers. His ground ball rate, 1st percentile, so he's a lot of hot fly balls. Walk percentage, 10th percentile. Whiff, 17th. Chase, 11th. He has not impressed me whatsoever. I do like Brown. I'm a big Brown fan, and I think against this lineup he should have a lot of success. But his numbers have not been good this year. 4.95 ERA, 1.65 WHIP, which is very concerning. Expected ERA, 4.25. He still has his walk rate and strikeout minus walk rate is 16.5, which is what we're looking for. His extensions in the 81st percentile, but average exit velocity in the 9th percentile. When he's getting hit pretty well. Somewhat like the over in this game, somewhat like Chicago, but I'm not laying that number with Chicago, regardless of the pitcher in this game. The over 8 is something I may take a look at, which tells me that probably the wind is blowing in a little bit. We see 7.5s when they've got 2 excellent pitchers on the mound. So having an 8 out there is probably telling us that the wind is blowing in, but maybe slightly into the over, but not involved at this point.
Yeah, as far as my numbers are concerned, I have the Cubs better in every category, but only better by like 2 points. So I hate these kind of when it comes out like this because, it jumps out and says, take the Cubs. But then you look closer and it's like, well, they're only better by like a point. So it's like, but Beloso has alarming walk ratio numbers. The Cubs are not really run producing recently. They're kind of in a little bit of a funk here. If the wind's blowing in, then yeah, I think an under would be a way to go. But 7.5, that's pretty harsh. So neither bullpen is performing very well either. So that would also keep me off an under. So, this is a tough one. I'm probably not going to play this one.
Craig in the chat says, can't find a -1 here in Vegas. Everyone's got a -1. You can make your own -1 by just splitting the money line and the run line accordingly. Sometimes it even actually comes out more favorable, especially if you have multiple books. Listen, -1 is something that like DraftKings will offer it and stuff like that. A lot of times it makes, like if you have a couple of books, it makes more sense to make your own -1, finding like whatever your best price is on the run line, whatever your best price is on the money line, you're just splitting it accordingly. For example, -140 on the money line, even money on the run line. I can easily make myself like a -1 that comes out -120. So, and if you really want to just keep it simple, it might not be exactly -1. Just split your bet, half run line, half money line. You're still what you basically want to accomplish is if it lands 1, you push, right? So usually you're going to do that with a game that's got a -1.5 with a slight plus money. So really, like when we say -1, I think, are you guys kind of good with that? That's what we mean?
Yeah, pretty much. Is one of us missing a leg of the parlay?
That's
Does
me.
Bryan have to?
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
Hey, he's got 10 minutes left. Don't rush him.
Okay.
We're going to go
cool.
to, listen, we've got like 5 people, including our guy Markinson, that wants to talk Twins Orioles. So let's talk about this game. I was very surprised that my numbers leaned toward the Twins because personally, I like the Orioles here. I think at home and against a right-handed pitcher, that's when you kind of want to play on this team, especially when they've got some of their bullpen arms. But I'm a little bit puzzled. The Twins hotter than the sun right now, and some of these teams, like, do you want to step in front of the Cardinals? Do you want to step in front of the Twins? So this one has me kind of scratching my head. We'll see what Bryan Leonard has to say about this one.
I'm looking the other way. I'm looking at Minnesota playing the better ball. Woods Richardson is a guy that we probably hit him and the other veteran. Oh, well, Richard's a lot younger, but I like him better than Paddock. And both of them seem to be pitching pretty well lately. I'm not a Povich fan. He's a lefty. Minnesota going against the lefty here. They've got a lot of their hitters back that they've been waiting on. They're playing better ball. They've been terrific since they got that bad start to the season. I'm more of a believer in Minnesota here, and I don't like Povich. When I take a look at the statistical on StatCast, they don't really care for either one of these. A lot of blue there. Richardson's in the 4th percentile in ground ball rate, 3rd percentile in barrel. That could get him in trouble in this stadium. Baltimore's offense, since they moved the fence in, is more of a hitter's ballpark this year than it's been the last couple of years when they had it back there. So both teams should be able to get on the board here, slightly to the over. But I prefer the way Richardson's pitching right now. He comes in with a 4.01 ERA, but his expected ERA is 5.42. And Cade Povich is a guy that I'm trying to fade. So his expected ERA is 6.24. So I take a look at that and I say, okay, what is the total here? The total is 9. That makes a lot of sense. Slight lean to the over, slight lean to Minnesota, which maybe would put me on Minnesota's team total over. That's the way I'm looking at this one this early in the morning. And like I said before, we got plenty of time to expand our knowledge the rest of the day before these games go off.
I find it extremely baffling how the Twins are an underdog in this game. How do you get plus money to take the Twins here? How is this possible? I mean, they're better than the Orioles in every single category. So this line, I look at it, is extremely fishy. So I mean, my knee-jerk reaction would be to jump all over the Twins. I mean, they have the second best bullpen in current form right now. I have Woods Richardson ranked 11 while I have Povich ranked 26. So lineup, I have the Twins ranked 12. I have the Orioles ranked 23. So how are they underdogs? So it makes me think when the book is this much different than what I'm thinking, I smell a rat and I stay away. So the only way I would go would be the Twins here, but I'm not going to do it because I think the bookmakers might know something that I don't. I don't really. It's just too good to be true, so I'm going to stay away.
They've had the Orioles price like this all year. I mean, really, they've had the Orioles price like this all year, pretty much. And
the bullpen's doing well right now, but
my numbers make the Twins the favorite too. And I was
absolutely.
I kind of disagree with it, but again, it's too much to it's too glaring for me to bet against. I think
exactly.
So, yeah,
it's like if you're walking down the street and you see like a leprechaun with a pot of gold, are you going to pick it up?
You literally never happened to me.
Stay the hell away from it, right?
I think you're drinking too much of that.
Yeah,
too much of what?
I would love for that to happen to me one time in life, where I just stumble across a pot of gold. Closest I'll probably come to that in life is winning the Nationals last night +1.5. That's probably the closest I'll ever come to that. Mark Kinson says, "Why is everyone being stingy with the like button? It's the cost of admission for people. Free admission. Just hit the like button. Yeah, like and subscribe to the channel. Also, blow them up in the comments. Tell WagerTalk you want the show 5 days a week. I'm not doing anything Monday and Thursday morning. I'd rather be on here talking about baseball with these two and to you guys. So like, subscribe, I email customer support. Tell them I sent you. I don't care. Just be as annoying as possible. We want to blow this show up. Interesting point here. Let's talk about this in this game. New hitting coach headed from to Colorado from Albuquerque. I want to frame this discussion because this is it's so interesting to me that the Rockies are as bad as they are. And the reason I say that is this group particularly has had success in the lower levels of the minor league. So the Rockies AA team is actually on the East Coast. It's the Hartford Yard Goats. Tremendous minor league experience. If you are in Connecticut, get yourself to a Yard Goats game. It is a phenomenal, it's just a phenomenal setup. But the reason I wanted to point that out is this crew of guys was dominating at that level. At AAA, like a lot, they had like now Albuquerque, whatever, they're not, they don't really care about wins and losses, but like a lot of these guys profile as guys that will have success at the next level in AAA. When I do AAA rankings, like as these guys come up, the Zach Veens, Beck, there's a couple down there right now, Bernabel, Fernandez, like a lot of these guys look productive at AAA, and then they get to the big leagues. I'm not saying that you can like follow them along and that they're going to translate into winning, but it shouldn't translate into generational losing like we're seeing the Rockies do right now. It is interesting. We've got a coaching shakeup, and hey, the Rockies the last two nights they beat the Padres, and then last night they cover the 1.5 and cover the spread against the Rangers. I think you would have gotten plus money on that. So I don't know. I don't even know if Dave Kokins is just blind riding the Rockies after the coaching change. Maybe he would have. I don't know. But certainly Rockies plus 1.5 is intriguing here for me. Jack Leiter's not a guy I think you should be laying that number with, and the Rangers have used some bullpen arms. So we'll go to you first, TB, then the Bryan Leonard. Any way you can get involved in the Rockies tonight, and what are your just thoughts on them going forward?
First of all, I just looked up the Yard Goats logo. What a cool logo. And
top-notch minor league experience right there. I recommend everyone get out to a Yard Goats game. Stadium's right by the XL Center. Continue.
And they used the Hartford Whalers, the old Hartford Whalers colors in their logo. That's so cool. But anyway, my opinion on this game, you want to go with Texas. These are two teams that can't score seemingly to save their lives. But Jack Leiter, his walk ratio really scares me. And actually, when I run my numbers, I have Colorado ranked higher in the majority of the categories over the Rangers here. But I'm not a fool. I'm not going to bet the Colorado Rockies on the road. That would be foolish. So I will not do it. But my numbers my numbers are kind of glaringly telling me to bet the Rockies here, but I'm not going to do it.
I'm not going to be involved in this game, so I don't want to talk about it. And we're getting close to the top of the hour. I haven't given out my play yet, so I'm going to get to that right now. We're going to go to the Yankees at Seattle game happening in Seattle tonight. Seattle's been very good against lefties this year. I believe they're 8-4. Max Fried comes in 1.05 ERA, 0.91 WHIP, but his expected ERA is 3 times higher. It's at 3.38. His numbers have been very good, but they're not terrific. You would expect with a 1.05 ERA, his numbers would be all red on the StatCast Savant page. They are not. His whiff percentage is in only the 35th percentile, chasing the 42nd. He's a good pitcher, but he's been extremely lucky so far this year. And he's going up against Bryan Wu. And if you've watched our show at all this year, you know how we like Bryan Wu. 3.25 ERA, 0.92 WHIP. His expected ERA, 2.86. Not a ground ball pitcher. He's only in the 19th percentile, but that doesn't affect him in this ballpark. We've talked about this in the past. The management in these ballparks that don't give up a lot of home runs, your Kansas Cities, Seattle's, you can bring in guys that are more fly ball pitchers. It's not going to affect you. He's in the 90th percentile in walk rate. Strikeout minus walk has been amazing. It's over 20. It's at 20.7, and 16 is what we look for. I love Bryan Wu here, and you're getting Seattle as an underdog, and both teams' best relievers should all be available tonight. It's going to be a hell of a ball game, but to get Seattle in this price range against the lefty at home, I'm seeing anywhere from plus 120 to plus 128 here. I'll take the 125 with with Seattle as a home dog against the Yankees, and that'll be my part of the parlay today.
Money line, huh?
All right, I'm gonna announce the parlay as we go off air, but very very quick. Yard Goats game. You can get a meatloaf sandwich on a glazed donut with crispy onions on it. I heard it's incredible. I have not tried it, but the food in that ballpark also insane. Let's read off the parlay. I'm just going to I just want to get the correct price here. So let me just punch this in quick. TB, you said yours was I'll go minus 130 rounded up. Those tend to get juiced, and 125. So we hit our parlay. 2 legs, 1 and a push for a plus 260 winner. I'm going to track these. I think we're going to make a nice graphic for this. So far in the season, 1-0, plus 2.6. We'll call it 2.6 units. Today's is plus 696. And I'm going to read it off one more time. We have the Detroit Tigers, even money for the game. We've got the first 5 under for the Pittsburgh Pirates, under a 1.5 for the first 5. And then the final leg, which will be the leg that closes it out because it's on the West Coast, is Bryan Leonard with the Mariners, plus 125. That comes out to plus 696. Obviously, shop around. As always with parlays, you might be able to find better than 7-1 on that. We have hit the top of the hour. So once again, like, subscribe, hop in the comments below. And appreciate you guys firing off comments throughout the game. It is also $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. I know all of these guys. I know both of these guys and myself will have best bets up for $5. So you should check that out. It's, you could get all 3 of ours today for less than what you would pay for one best bet on any other day. So I strongly encourage you to check that out. All right. It's 10 o'clock. I think we did good on time today. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. live right here on WagerTalk TV. We'll see you then.